As one of my latest big crafting projects, I made this forget-me-not of my friend's dearly departed pet, Midnight, who finally crossed the Rainbow Bridge, and I knew that she'd miss him terribly, so I wanted to give her something really nice and positive to remember him by, because he was her companion for many, many years. I'd seen other creators on TikTok make similar needle felting projects, and I just reverse engineered it based on what I saw with some fur that I got from him while he was still alive. This is literally my first needle felting project that I've actually done to completion, because I did try to do a booty frog, but I kind of gave up midway because I broke too many needles and I got frustrated at the process. So while the motivation for that one was more curiosity, for this one it was kind of a compulsion. I really did not stop working on this until it was done, and I worked on it for a solid 2 weeks every day, a little bit at a time. It was definitely a trust the process kind of craft because I really did not know what I was doing. So I started with making the bone structure, the eyeballs, the nose, and the tongue out of air dry clay, and then I just started shaping and painting and molding it to be exactly like I wanted it to be, with a whole lot of trial and error in between, folks, because I don't know how to make anything. I just try to figure it out as I go. I theorized that I could get the eyes and the tongue and the nose to stick better if I put a pin in them, and those are actually needle felting needles that have broken off, and I just wanted to reuse them. I'm a crafting trash panda, people. I'll recycle and reuse any material I think is useful. Such is my way. I also started getting really good at using the right needles for the right job. So this is a 40 gauge needle. That's kind of a middle of the road needle. And I use these for a lot of shaping because I noticed that the bone structure wasn't quite what I wanted, and I didn't want the eyes to sit right on top of the face. I wanted them to be recessed into the cavity of the face like they would in real life. Same with the tongue and the nose. I didn't want them just to sit on top of the face. I wanted them to have a home there. So I started making these little recesses within the nose, the mouth area, and the eyeballs. Because without that, these pieces individually, even though they were proportional, seemed super, super large for his face. And for the eyeballs, I just used these sewing pins that were in pearl color, and I just painted the black iris on top. The entire time I was heavily referencing a picture I took of him in the garden to be able to make sure that everything was as precise as possible. And since the garden was his favorite space, I wanted to put him in it. So I started working on the background of my forget-me-not. I cut up some pieces of colored flat felt for the leaves, for the stars, for the little background elements in this nighttime scene, and I stole some beads from my daughter to make the stars. And I also embroidered some forget-me-nots because I thought it would be a really cute touch, and blue looks really good on him since his fur was dark black and brown. So back to the head. Can you tell I have ADHD? Because I keep waffling from one part of the project to the other, but that's what makes it interesting. So anyway, I just kept refining the elements, the snout, the eyeballs, the ears, everything that I thought needed a little bit more work. His tongue was surprisingly tricky because it needed to be inside the body just a certain way for him to look cute and not demented, like those medieval paintings of cats and dogs that don't actually look like cats and dogs. Yeah, no uncanny valley vibes here, sir. No siree. Not on my watch. Anyway, the nose also was a little tricky, but it actually sat really well on the face once I got the snout structure down. And then came his most defining feature, his beautiful black bushy mane of fur. He was like a little lion. And with the power of video editing, I will combine these two pieces into one. This part was also surprisingly easy and very sturdy because of how dense the felt was. And I just made a big triangular stitch on the back to hold the structure together. So with the head in place, it was now time to add the nose and the tongue. I use Oohoo super glue, but you can use any kind of glue that will play nicely with felt. And after a ridiculous amount of finagling, I have sped up this part for your viewing pleasure because it was a literal ridiculous amount of finagling. I finally got him to look exactly the way I wanted to. And while it looks like we're ready, we are not ready yet. Still some details are left for the end, such as his little pawsies, so that it doesn't look like his head is floating in space. I shaped some loose pieces of felt and stabbed them into the shape of his paw so that they could go under him in the diorama itself. I partially sewed, partially needle felted these into the main body, and then proceeded to tease out his beautiful mane of hair, as well as use some markers and Sharpies to get the color ring right in all the different places, especially where I thought the fur was a bit patchy or not dark enough. And now, to secure the embroidery ring, I'm just going to stitch around it to make sure that it doesn't deform once I remove it from the ring. I grabbed this thick cardboard that I had, made a circle, and then used it for the inside with a little bit of padding and a ribbon to finish it off so it could be hung or placed along with his personal effects. And this is the final result. What do you guys think? I really love it. I think he came out really, really cute, and also he looks like he's smiling, which makes me extra happy. So this is the little forget-me-not for Midnight, and I hope that my friend will enjoy him for many years to come and look at it and remember all the wonderful years she had with her favorite bow. Thanks for sticking around to watch the process for my latest chaotic craft. Use it as a gentle reminder that you don't need to know how to do something to be able to at least attempt it. So go forth, be brave, and make cool crafts.